Yeah, hi, hello everyone, and thanks for joining this session. And I hope you will be enjoying today's session. And today we are going to learn about the cybersecurity awareness, tips to protect you and your data. So thanks for joining. And also, I want to thank to the Treetop Security over here for providing me with the content and the slides. Because yeah, if I had to create all of these slides and the content by myself, it would take a lot of time, but since they have made it as open source for this content, it's really great and I want to thank them. And I have just modified the content and the slides to fit my training over here. So big thanks to the Treetop Security over here. So let's move on. And who am I? So my name is Richard Dewan, and I have experience in IT at least around 13 years for now. And I'm also a programmer and a developer for the Android as well as the Dynamic X, and also instructor in the Udemy, where I have around 13K students with at least a rating of 4 plus. I'm also a certified ethical hacker, version 7 on the ISHICON certification, as well as the certified security analytics. And also, I have a certification from the Microsoft MCSA and the MCITP. So let's move on to the next lecture over here, which says live, laugh, get hacked, and stop laughing. So actually, when we are not sure or when we don't have any knowledge of the cybersecurity, there is a really great risk, and we actually don't know that what is the risk and the threat that we have when we do much of the things like the online shopping, banking. So there are always a risk, and there is always a risk when we are doing all of those stuff, and people are not aware of all of those. And when people are not aware of these risks and the threats, they do a lot of mistakes, and when they get hacked actually, and they have a lot of consequences. So actually a lot of companies and the people have been get hacked and they have suffered a lot. So when you get hacked, and actually it's a really lot of mess that we have. When you are a company, it's a really big deal for you, and as well as when you are a person, or when your personal details get hacked, that is also a big deal. So we will be seeing all of those. So actually, by here we can say that when we actually have get hacked, it is really a big deal, and a lot of lives and the lot of things has been get destroyed by getting hacked. So we must be aware of the cyber security. That is the purpose of this training. So let's move on. And we have an overview over here what we will be learning on this. So first of all, we'll learn why security awareness training is important and why backup are the most important things in the for all of our security, and patching of all of your device, why we need to secure our passwords, two-factor authentication, internet safety, and email, phone scams, and privacy concerns. So all of these are the topic that we will be covering today. So let's move on. Why the cybersecurity awareness is important? So why do you think that the cybersecurity awareness is important to all of you? Or some people may think that it's not important for me, or I don't need to have any awareness about it. But let's see on why we actually need it. Cybersecurity is actually a safety. So when you are actually in your home, what do you have for your security? You have your home alarm system. Maybe you have a home CCTV, or maybe everybody has your door and everybody has a gate. So all of these are the ways to protect you from all of others external factor like the thieves that is coming to your house, right? So you have some kind of protection in your house. So think it as the same way. So when you are dealing with all of your computers, your smartphone, so we need to have some kind of protection to protect it from all of the threats or the risks that we have. So data is the main thing over here. We need to protect all of those. And the safety is that we must behave in a way that protect us against the risks and the threats that come from with the technology. So every technology has some kind of risks and the threats that we need to take care, and we need to be aware of all of those. Think it as of the safety as when you go to some construction site, let's say when you are visiting a construction site, what you need to wear. So you have to wear a helmet, you have to wear a safety boot, you have to wear a safety clothes, and you have to wear a safety gloves. So all of these are the requirement for you in order to be safe in that zone. So you are going to the construction, you have to be safe. You have to wear a safety boot, you have to wear a helmet. So all of this is a safety. So think in the same way that for our cybersecurity or for our technology, we also need to have some kind of protection over here. And no one likes the security until it's needed. That's really true because nobody likes to have some extra burden in their back. And everybody wants to have a free movement, or they want to be at least a very light when they want to be on some whenever they are doing something. They don't want to carry an extra burden in their back. So nobody likes the security, right? So until and unless it's really needed. And think it as of your seat belt philosophy over here. Nobody wants to wear a seat belt, and until and unless you actually require it. Like when you are wearing, when you are in the car, if you don't feel like to wear a seat belt, when you are traveling in the flight, you don't like to wear a seat belt, but that is required for your safety because that may help to save your life, right? So whenever you have some sudden accident, it will help you to safeguard your life. So that's really important over here, right? So the life over there is cost how many dollar? You can see there is a no value for the life. So it's really important that we think that security is, some people think that it's not needed for them, but actually it's really important to have a security on everything that we have, and that is on top of the technologies. So let's move on over there. And in security, we can say that nothing is 100% secure in the cyber security. So when we are talking about the security, there is nothing that can be 100% secure. Always there is a loophole. And we try to minimize the risks that we have and the threats that is growing from the technology. So there is not 100% security that whenever you implement everything, then you get 100% assurance that everything is secure now. So that's a not good idea to have in your mind. So always make sure that you think that security is always not 100% over there. We just try to find what is the risks and what is the threats, and we try to minimize it, right? And let's move on. So awareness training is a must. So why do we think that the security awareness training is a must? Technology alone cannot protect you from everything. So which means that you have a good firewall system, you have a good antivirus, you have all of the security policies or the technologies that you want to protect. So all of things are being implemented. But it's not that all of this technology will be protecting you from every kind of the threats or the risks that we have in the cybersecurity. Attackers go where the security is the weakest. So whenever attacker or the hacker want to come into you or want to attack you, it's always find a weakest point. Think as of your house. So let's say a thief want to come into your house. He doesn't, or he will prefer to come from somewhere there is a weakest point of entry in your house, where the CCTV is not covering, or where there is no alarm installed. So where the windows or the door is already broken. So he will try to find a weakest point. So here we can think that attacker or the hacker is of the same mind concept, where he will always try to find a weakest point. And the weakest point over here is the people, a link to the chain that last first line of the defense. So here, which means that people over here are the weakest chain, of which if we can break, means that we can obviously can go into that any kind of the security that we have implemented. We have implemented a firewall, we have implemented a good antivirus, everything is implemented, but people is the weakest point of defense. So when we can break into the people, that means we can break into any kind of the network, right? Essential to reducing our cybersecurity risks. So essential for the reducing the cybersecurity risks. And the cybersecurity awareness is for the employees, business owner, or parents, kids, senior citizen, everyone. I think it's for the everyone. You cannot say that it's not. It's just for the employee or it's just for the business owner or the parents, but it is for the everybody. So everybody nowadays has some smart device with them, has a laptop or any kind of electronic gadget they have. So all of this needs some kind of awareness and how to protect you and your data, right? So let's move on to the next slide over here. But you may think that the attacker isn't interested in me. So why the attacker is interested in me? What? So that is the many people concept of thinking, like why is the attacker or the hacker is not interested on me? I don't have anything, right? I don't have anything that interests him on him to come and attack me. So why is that? Wrong. That means you are completely wrong, and that is what exactly the hacker wants to think of you. So you always like thinking that I don't have anything to protect. I don't have any things that the hacker needs. So that is the exact thing that the hacker wants you to think. You have a credit card, you have a debit card, you have a online banking. So all of these are the financial data that is really important for them, right? And you may have some medical data like prescription, insurance, identity fraud. So all of these are really important. So medical data is really important. So far more valuable than the financial data. And computer resources like the crypto mining, and crypto mining means that your PC or your computer resource can be used to solve some kind of mathematical problem to generate some kind of coins like Bitcoin. You have heard of Bitcoin, right? So all of this can be used, the crypto mining, and the ransomware is the really big deal over here, and it can be used for the ransomware. Advertising. So advertising is also another big topic over there. So all of this is really important, and the jump point is the another thing over here which can be used like if your laptop or if your computer is get compromised, and it can be used to make it as a proxy over there. So when the hacker or wants to attack, he may not try directly connect to or attack the another network from his network or his computer. He may use your computer as a proxy to attack the another computer. So when the actual investigation or the law enforcement or the anybody wants to come back and trace you, because it was your jump point. So it was your PC that was actually doing the attack. Advertising. So all of the advertising, you can see that Facebook is doing all kind of advertisement everywhere. There you can see there is an advertisement. So every advertisement is the another big deal. So we have a lot of money investment, and you can think of there is a lot of money in the advertisement. And I use your email or the search credential, and which means that sending for the spam. So if your credential or your email password are compromised, then it may be useful send the spam emails, and it may also be able to recover your other details or the other online details, like let's say if you have linked that particular email address for some kind of other recovery, like your bank password recovery or other sites, or the or any other information that need to recover or reset password goes to that particular email address. So if he had access to that one, which means that he can actually recover other account password too. So we have to be careful over here. So if you think that all of this is not with you, then that's nothing to say. But everybody has all of this. Everybody has a credit card, debit card. Everybody has a financial data. Everybody has some kind of medical data. everybody now has some kind of electronic computer, phones and all of those, and everybody nowadays has an email and online activities. So all of these are the requirement that hacker is interested on you. Don't think that they are not interested at you. So help over here, always to protect yourself. So backup. The first thing is the backup. Backup is really important over here. Backup protects when all or everything fails, right? So which means that no level of protection is perfect. We can say that nothing is perfect over here, right? So only guaranteed protection against the ransomware. So this is the only guaranteed protection against the ransomware, and this is really true. I have come across a lot of the ransomware attack, and the backup is the lifesaver over there. What information is important to you, right? And backup media should not be connected at the all times. So let us take a look on all of this. So first of all, that you must back up all of your data. Let's say at least backup if you are on a personal your personal data, at least backup uh, once a week. And if you can back up daily, that's really great. But if you cannot, just back up at least once a week, that should be enough. If your data is not that critical or not that important, so you can at least back up once a week. But if your data is critical and you don't want to lose any of your work, then you must back up daily. And this is a backup is a guaranteed protection from the ransomware. So if you have not heard about the ransomware, then ransomware is things that locks your computer or your data, and it asks for some kind of money. And if you want to unlock that particular computer or the file, you have to pay some money. So in case of that one, if you have a backup, you can just recover from that particular backup. So that's a really great. And this is a lifesaver, and I have experience with the ransomware a lot of time, and we had a lifesaver which is of our backup. And backup media, whenever you backup and don't connect that particular device to your computer itself. When you backup and you finish your backup, you just disconnect it. No need to connect all time to your computer. So if you connect it, then it can be that when the hacker attack or the ransomware is coming, it will infect all of those devices. And make sure that when we have a backup to test it. So if you never test it and then when you want to recover it, oh my god, all of the backups that you have are not working. So don't be on that scenario over there. So make sure when you do a backup, at least test it and be confident that okay, so if something happens and I have to recover, my backup is working. And there are different kinds of backups that we can make use, like a full backup, differential backup, incremental backup. So all of these are different kind of backups that we can actually implement on based on your requirement and the disk size and how you want to backup. So all of this needs some kind of planning and requirement. So if you are in office or if you want to do some kind of backups to your file, you should always liaise with your IT department on how the backup should be proceeded, and they will create a plan for you depending on the disk they have or the free space they have, and you need to identify some kind of what is critical data and what is not. So you have to identify and you have to categorize your data, what is needed to backup, what is not needed. So if you want to back up your whole system, that's a really big space, right? So if you have 10 GB of the data that you have to back up, and if you want to back up every day, and if you want to keep it for 7 days, that is 10 into 7. So 10 is to 7, you have to have the storage. So you have to do some kind of planning over here. So backup, you have to liaise with your IT department for that one. And also if you are at a home, you can just do some kind of full backup once a week. And updates are essential to the security. So what was secure yesterday may not be secure today, which means that yesterday that your system may be secure, but today it's not, because every time or every second or every minute, few minutes, there is some kind of a security bug for, and there kind of some kind of software bug. All of those are reported continuously. So researchers are continuously researching, and the hacker are always finding a way to find some weakness in the security system or the system that we have. So yesterday it may be secure, but today it may not be secure. So we have to take care of that one. New software vulnerabilities are found every day. So every day there is a security issue found, or the vulnerabilities are found in every software. Over 360K new malware, which is a virus, and the ransomware are released every day, and nothing is set and forget over there. So which means that updates are really important. Whenever you get a pop-up that, okay, so this application need to be updated, or whenever you get a Windows update notification, make sure you update it, because updating is the good way to prevent your compromise, or your weaker system to have some more secure system. Because every time you update your application, it may have some kind of the security fix or the vulnerabilities that was previously discovered. So all of those may be have been fixed on that particular update. You may not know. So always make sure you update your system, software, everything that you have. And also, once you set up your system, and it's not always and set and forget, which means that once you set up your system, then everything is done, and you don't go back and look on it what is happening. So whenever we set up the system, we have to continuously check on that whether there's some kind of update or bug fix for that particular application. And keep your system up to date. So we have an operating system. Basically, we use most of us we use Windows and Apple, right? Mac OS and Linux. And Windows 7 is already out of end of life on January 2020, and as well as also the Windows XP. And if you are still using the Windows XP and the Windows 7, that is really bad for your security, and that's really not good. So if you want to be on secure side, you must remove all the system that has a Windows 7 and the Windows XP. Why we don't need to have all of those? Because since it is already end of life, and there will be no more bug fix or the security fix for that particular version of the Windows. So Microsoft is not going to release any kind of security fix whatsoever happened to that particular system, since it is already end of life. So always use an up-to-date system, and whenever you are getting some kind of the update, make sure you go and update. So when you get an update for the Windows, you may get a notification that your computer need to restart to apply certain the updates. So just make sure you go and apply it, right? We always need to make sure that our operating system is always up to date, and always this is the first way of the first line of defense that we can call. And antivirus, if you have antivirus, then make sure it's always up to date. And if you don't have an antivirus, by default the Windows comes with the Windows Defender, which will be have automatic. Make sure you enable it as a automatic update, and update to the latest definition, because the antivirus works on the definition or the virus signature that we have. If the virus was previously discovered and it has the definition, they have updated in their database. So it need to be updated in the virus signature database, and whenever next time when the same signature is found or the same definition is found, then it will detect that particular virus and flag it as a malware or the Trojan. So make sure that you have that particular definition in your database. So it's really important to update your antivirus as well as your operating system. Some may just think, oh, I don't need to update it, or some may just think that antivirus, I don't need to update it. So make sure that automatic update is enabled for your Windows as well as the antivirus. And don't forget about the browser over there. We use the Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari. So all of those are really important in our day-to-day life. Whenever we go online, we use all of those browsers, right? So Internet Explorer or the IE is dead already. So it's not recommended. Microsoft, I think, already has asked everybody to switch to the Edge itself. So if you are still using the IE or the Internet Explorer, make sure you stop that one because it has really big security issue, and now Microsoft is not recommending it to use the Internet Explorer anymore. So make sure you switch to some other safer browser, and make sure you have an up-to-date or the latest version of that browser. And whenever you have installed some kind of the plugins like the PDF viewer or the Java, you have installed in your browser extension, so make sure you have up-to-date of that one. When you install it, make sure that you go and check whether there is some update for that plugin or the extension that you have installed it. So that is a good way of prevention from getting your browser compromised. And mobile device, cell phones and the laptops, so all you need to have a proper updates like your phones. Whenever there is a new updates for your Android or the iOS, you must go and update it. Software, mobile application, web application, all of those needs to be have to up to date or the have to be updated every time to fix some kind of bugs and the security issue. So Internet of Things is there, or the IoT like the Alexa, Google Home, and the doorbell, your surveillance system. Everything nowadays, most of the things you come as a smart. Even your TV is nowadays a smart, and the smart car. So all of those you have to be very careful because you need to have an up-to-date and secure system. So when there is some connection to the internet or the network, then means there is some kind of the risk is there and some kind of threat is there. So we must be sure that your particular system is not doesn't have any kind of risk or the threat. So we can see that recently there was the U.S. agencies and the FireEye, which were hacked using the SolarWinds software backdoor, right? So I hope you guys have already heard of this news. It is a really big news, and now most of the companies have also come forwarded and said that they were also hacked using the same kind of attack using a SolarWinds software, like Microsoft, Malwarebytes. So all of the other big companies also are there got infected with this particular SolarWinds software backdoor. So, which means that every software that we have has some kind, which we think that yesterday was secure, but today is not secure because um, they may have some kind of the bug or the vulnerabilities in that particular system, but the developer or whoever created that one was not aware of that one, and the researcher or the hacker had found that this can be exploited, or there is some thing that they can utilize it for the attack. So we always need to be make sure that what we install in your system is has an up to date and is always secure. So anything can be used and anything can be utilized that we have installed in the system to hack us and to compromise our system and our network. So let's talk about the password over here, all about the password. Someone figured out my password. Now I have to rename my dog. So this is one funny saying over there, which says that, oh, somebody just figured out my password, and I have to change my rename my dog name. So don't be on this case that don't try to create a password name on your dog or your pet or your cat or your fish name. So managing password, keep your password in a secure location. So don't use a paper or a sticky note. And I have seen in some of the companies that where people just write down their password and just stick it in the monitor, right? And some just use a sticky note and type the all of the passwords. So they have to log into which system and they have to go to which online website B2B side, customer portal. So they just type all the password in front of their screen, or just stick it, or they just type it in the sticky note over there. So don't store the password in the clear text, like your computer, Word, Excel, etc. So if you have some kind of protection for your Excel file or your Word file, so don't try, when you create a password, don't just write down in some paper, or don't just type in the text and keep that password. So don't try to store it in the clear text. Clear text means without any encryption. So if you have some kind of password that you have a password is for protection, right? You have to authenticate to access that particular resource. But if you just type and put it in your screen or your monitor, or we just save it without any encryption, that doesn't make any sense. Anybody can access that one and just log in, right? So utilize the password manager, and if you are not sure what is a password manager, which means that we can manage all of your password, right? So there are a lot of other software or the application which we can use. LastPassword, KeePass is free and really useful. I usually use a KeePass over there. OnePassword. There are a lot of other password manager we can actually go and use. KeePass is a free, and I have been using it for the few years now. It's really useful, and I think it's a really great deal that KeePass is a free and open source, which we can utilize for our password manager. And if you have a password manager, then you can just use that to manage all of the password, and it makes sure that all of the password are encrypted. Benefits of the password manager, and we can have a strong password to access all of them, and you can have a different site with a different passwords, so you don't have to remember it. It can auto type for you, right? Encrypt the storage password, the password are, and wherever you are storing that password is encrypted. It can autofill, like you don't have to go and manually type the username and password. It can autofill for you. And also synchronize between the desktops and all of your laptops and the other mobile devices. So that's really useful. So if you are not sure how to get started with the password manager, you can just go and Google search for some free password manager, and you can come across the KeePass. It's really helpful. So make sure that whenever you have a password, don't try to stick in your computer or in front of your sticky note. And when you are, just make sure that if you are typing or storing the password in the notepad or your Excel, so make sure you just have some kind of encryption for that one. Password tips: avoid using the item that can be associated with you, like your address, your phone number, your pet name, your children name, your birthdays, your sport team, your favorite superstar, your favorite movie. So all of these are a password that can be easily guessed. So it is not recommended. Like anybody can, if they have some information about you, they can guess what is your birthday, right? And what is your sports favorite sports, and who's your superstar. So all these things can be guessed looking at your social media profile or the other profile that we have online. So make sure if you are using a password, all of those, make sure you change it, because this kind of password are really easy to guess and can be easily compromised. Separate password for every account. This is really helpful, because once if your password for one account is get compromised, then the another account is not compromised. So let's say you have a Facebook login and you have a Twitter login. Both of them have a same password and same email address. But if your one account got compromised, then it can be your same login detail can be used to log into your another account. So you lose your both of the account over there. So how can I have so many username and password? So that's why we say that password manager is really important there. We can make use of a password manager to create all kind of different kinds of accounts for the different account that we have, and auto generate and on memorable. So password should be something like it should be a really difficult to guess, right? And You can have an auto-generated password. Password manager can be used to do auto-generation of your password, which can be really complex, and you don't have to remember it. It can auto-type for you. Password versus the pass phrases over here. Useful when the password must be typed in. So sometimes that some account or the requirement is that you must type in the password. You cannot auto type. Then you have to make sure you use a pass phrases, and the pass phrases should be at least a 12 character, but 15 or more, and if you can have a 15 to 20, that's far better, and the length is better than the complexity over here. So past phrases, when you have a past phrases, and that is the length over there is important over there. And the bad password, like let's say if you have this kind of password like P at SSWORD, so you can see that the O is in big and RD. So these are the already compromised password, and these are the bad password because it can be easily found on the internet. If you have this kind of password, then you can just go and Google search for all of the hacked password list, or the most used passwords. So you can always come across this kind of password that they are used, and create a password. So create password like, let's say we have my dad was born in November 1995 exclamation mark. So this is quite difficult to guess over there. So you can have a passphrases over here. So this is some kind of the passphrases that we can generate if you have to manually type in or key in the password. So top 25 password by rank and the year, you can see all of these are the password that is a very top. Right, you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 password, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So all of these are the top 25 password by the rank. You can see that if you see your password over here, just make sure you go and change it. So it's really common password, and it can be found online on everywhere, right? So these are the really weak password, or we can call it that. Then you can find it everywhere. So nobody have to crack it, so they just have to guess it. And you can also see the complexity of your password, so how long actually it takes to crack a particular password based on the GTX RTX 1080 that we have. And you can see that if you have just a character of the only 10 4 character, you can see over this side, you can see the password length. It says 4 to the 16, and the higher you go and the complex you go, it takes a lot of more times over here. 4 character, it just takes 0.3 millisecond. Right? Same with the complex password, we have 2.7 second. So it says that the greater your password length, it takes longer to crack, right? So this is some kind of the protection that we can have, but make sure that if you are creating a password, you at least create a 8 character for if you have a keyword symbol. So this kind of the password, if you create, can take a really long time to crack. But this is based on the actual brute forcing your password. But if somebody has already accessed your password hash, then it may be a really less time to particularly crack that particular hash password hash. So when you just when you are actually logging into any system, and then when the password are actually hashed, it's not the actual number, like let's say you are typing 1 2 3 4 5 6, but when it's actually stored in that backend system, it always hashed. The password are always hashed, and if the hacker has already access to that particular hash, and it may be really easy to crack, so it may not take so long time as mentioned over here. This is really brute forcing your password. But if somebody has already access to your hashing, then hash password, then it may be less time. As well as the hashing also depend on what kind of the cryptography that we have, or the algorithm that we have used on that particular hashing algorithm. So if we are using a weak algorithm to hash that particular password, then it may take a really less time and even possible to crack it. But if you have used a uncrackable or a really high algorithm over there encryption to hash your password, then there may be not possible or even impossible to crack that particular password. So I have a strong password already. So am I safe? Right. So am I safe over here? I have created a very long password, a really complex password. I have used a password manager. So am I safe over there? So we will see some of the ways to steal your password. So how your password can be compromised and how the hacker can actually access your password. Let's move on to the next slide. So some of these slides have been taken from the Sentinel-1, and these slides have been taken from their site, and I have just copied and used it on my slide. So if you have any copyright issue, just contact me. So I'll try to remove it from my slide over here. And so let's see the residential stuffing over here, which means that you can see the risk level is really high over here. So the residential surfing, also known as list cleaning and breach replay, it means that of the testing database or list of stolen residential or the credential or the password and the username against a multiple account to see if this matches. So let's say your hacker has already compromised some systems or the database, and they may have extracted the username and the password. So the search credential was extracted, and on the next, when they want to try to attack the another system, they may use that particular stolen list of the same username and the password to try to log into the another system. So this is called the residential stuffing over here. So whenever you heard of like the service that you are using, like let's say you are using some online service and that service got hacked, and you have to go and immediately change your username and password, because the same username and password, if they have decrypted that username and password, and that can be used for the another attack. So make sure you go and change your password immediately when you heard that particular service that you are using has been compromised or has been breached. So they may have already the list of the username and password. They, whenever they breach that particular system, they may keep that list and use that list in the next attack. Phishing over here. Phishing is a social engineering trick which attempts to trick the user into supplying their credential to what they believe is a genius request from a legitimate site or the vendor. So the risk is also very high over here, which means that you always receive, or we always receive an email like, let's say your package has been delivered, or your account has been going to suspend. And so all of those kind of the email that you receive, like let's say if you are using a Netflix, then you may receive that your account is going to expire because you need to revalidate your credit card or your payment. So all of those you may receive, and it may try to trick you. So it may be from the fake sender, but it will be like something like from the actual sender. So it may try to trick you, and they may send us some kind of link to you, and when you click on that link, and it may take you to some site where they will ask you to fill in some forms like your name, address, your credit card details. So all of them they just may try to collect. So this is called a phishing. It's just a trick, right? So they may just send some kind of email looking at actual one, but actually it's a fake. When you see that particular email, it looks like a real one, but if you try to do some investigate on it, it is a fake. So don't try to fall in the phishing. It's a really high risk level over there. Password spraying over here. Password spraying is a technique that attempts to use a list of commonly used password against the user account. So we already saw before that if you have a common password that is used, like password like 1234, password I love you, right, ABCD. So all of these are the commonly used passwords. So If you have this kind of password used for your account, make sure you go and change it, because it has a very high risk level. And they don't have to just do anything, they just have to guess your password, right? So if they know your email address, and they just have to guess your password to log into that particular account. Keylogging over here, which is really dangerous, because if you install a pirate software, or you just install some application from the torrent, or you just went to some download site and downloaded some software, and that may contain a keylogger, because when the keylogger, it will try to record everything. So whatever you type in your keyboard, it will keep that struct. So if I press A, it will hit that A and record that A, and certainly will upload it to the remote server, FTP site, or even send an email of that particular file. So whenever you are downloading some file from the internet, or from the untrusted site, make sure that you don't install all those kind of software. And don't try to install some kind of the pirate software that's going to be risky for your network or for your company. If you are in a company, make sure you always use the original version of this particular application. And let's go and to the next slide over here. The another one can be also a man in the middle attack. It was really common previously, but now they're still used, but are really less. What does actually happen is that if you are connected to some sites, let's say a banking site, there may be some person sitting on the middle of your connection and try to record or try to redirect all of the connection. Instead of going to the original site, it may redirect all of the connection to his computer first, and then from his computer he will redirect it to the original server. So from your side, from your computer, instead of going direct to the server, it will be redirected to the hacker or the attacker PC, and from there it will be redirected to the original site. So here then it has a man in the middle attack. So whatever you are sending to that connection, the person who is sitting in the middle can capture all of the records. Basically, it's done in the Wi-Fi area. So if you are on the free areas, free Wi-Fi services, so it's really dangerous. So when you are on the airports, or when you are in the coffee shop, so when you get a free things, people like to use everything is as a free, but sometimes free is always not a safe thing. So make sure that all of those are, you take it as a security risk over there. So you connect to a particular site, and from the same connection of the Wi-Fi, and you may not be know that some hacker is sitting on that particular Wi-Fi network and redirecting your connection through his computer. So this can be really possible. Boot forcing is over here, so it's kind of the thing that security researchers like to write about, and on which you might see the TV show like hacker runs some algorithm against the encrypted password, and you can see that all the password has been cracked. But actually it's a real, so you can actually brute force the password. And if you have if even if you have has that password has been hashed, you can actually brute force that the password hashed and recover back to the original. And you can also use to brute force the password and combination of the password, and trying to brute force it and break it. So that is also possible, but the risk is really low over there. You can see the risk level is low, but it still is possible. Local discovery, and which means that as we previously mentioned, that you have some password and you just write down in your sticky note, or you just write down in some paper, and later you don't use that anymore, you just throw it into your dustbin. So that from that dustbin it can be discovered, right? So another person can discover from it. So local discovery occurs when you write down and use your password somewhere. It can be seen in the plain text, so you just stick in your wall or in your monitor over there. So that is another way of discovery, local discovery, and the risk level is still low, but it can be still used to recover your password. extortion is over there, so this is really low. Sometime it may be possible like that some people may try to demand to give you a credential, and if you try to refuse to give, then they may do some kind of blackmail or do some kind of the other things. So it's extortion we call it. So it's also possible, but it's really low. The risk level is low. So if they have something about you that you don't want to come onto the public, but if they are willing to do it for you, so this is kind of some extortion. So give us your this kind of detail, otherwise we will do this. So this things is called extortion. So we'll take a look on the two-factor authentication. What is a two-factor authentication over here, which means the beyond your username and the password. And the second form to prove that it is you, and typically out of the band. So one-time code, which we basically use, you receive through the SMS or the phone call or the phone pop-ups and the email, right? So we have a second kind of the authentication. So application we can use like Google Authenticator or the Microsoft Authenticator. Auth is always there. Auth is really good over there. So all of these is a two-factor authentication. When you have a two-factor authentication set, it's really difficult to break in. So if you have a username and password, some hacker has already gained your username and password, but he still needs a second form to authenticate that it is you. Right? So when you log in using your username and password, and in the second time, it will ask you to key in some kind of this code. It will generate some kind of this code, and when you fill in, then only you can log in. So think it as of when you are doing online shopping and you purchase something, and when you use a MasterCard, let's say it will redirect you to the MasterCard where it will request a code. So when you request the code, the code come into your mobile number, and using that, when you key in that number, the transaction get approved. So it's the same kind of the two-factor authentication is applied over there. So make sure if you haven't enabled Google, Microsoft, most of the emails and most of the online services now support the two-factor authentication. And if you haven't enabled, that's really bad. So just go and make sure you have enabled the two-factor authentication. Just a little click over here. So is the link safe? We can see in the fourth step. First is to verify that whether you are expecting particular link, not just email, social media, SMS, Zoom, Teams, like anything that. Whenever you receive an email or whenever you receive a link, then you must verify that one. So why you are receiving that? Why you are receiving that particular link? Yes? And then you can hover. So hover over the link. So if you just hover to that particular link, to ensure that leads to where it does. So that link, when you actually link may be anything, you just hover to that particular link and it will actually show you the actual site over there. So sniff test, which means that it is a site that you recognize, so which means that the link is coming from your bank site. Is it the valid bank site, or is it a Netflix that is sending you? Is it the Amazon that's sending you? So you can sniff test that particular link. So when you move the particular cursor over there, it will show you that link. Where is that coming from? And does it pass all of these tests? So if it passed, then you can just click it. When in doubt, throw it out. So which means that when you have some doubt, just don't click it. So just a click can change a bit of life over there, right? So when you are not sure whether the link is correct or not, just make sure you don't click it when you have a doubt. So you can see that easy to recognize a scam. So you can see that the red flag over here. You can see about the red flags, Viagra. So did you order some kind of Viagra? So why are you receiving over there? And a strange wording, you can see some kind of strange wording is over there. You can see that how come the wording is so difficult over there. email address, do you know that this particular email address, where is it coming from? Is it a valid email address? The domain name, you can see after at sign you have a domain sign. Do you know this domain? Is it your company doing a particular business with them? So you have to verify this domain. And expected email, are you expecting this particular email from your supplier or your vendor or your customer? So are you expecting this particular email to come in? And you can see that the interesting link, so you may get some interesting link over there, like the discount over the 90% discount, buy one free one. So all of these are the interesting link that we can get. So people get excited, and when people get excited, they just click it, right? We can see that they know the email account. Do you know the email address? So yeah, I know that email address. It's from my supplier or from my customer. The name looks fine. The name is also correct of that particular supplier or the customer. The red flag, you can see we have a green over there. Odd signature. So everybody has a signature on the email, right? So this at the bottom of the email, everybody has their signature. Have a good day, dash from so and so company, phone number, website, email. So all of these are the signature. So everybody has a different signature, right? And we can see that odd signature. So this signature, did it verify with the previous email? So previously you had received one email, but does it match with that particular email? Are you expecting some email? Did you expect some email to become from that particular supplier or the customer? Then using the link in the dot front. So why is it dot fr? So we are not doing with any business with this particular site, right? Or this particular with this company. So you can see all of those stuff over here. You can also see that hack or the snuff email from someone you may know. When you verify that email address, the email address can be easily snooped, and also the name can be easily snooped. So I can just create my own email server, and I can just make use anybody email address I want. I can use anyone's email address in this world. So the email address can be easily snooped, and also the name can be easily snooped. So we have to be also take care of that one, right? So the hack, or maybe somebody hacked that particular email address and is using to send you the email spam. So all of this we have to take care of, and we have to be sure that that is not happening over there. Same thing on the text message, we can see that we received this particular, and you see that name on the SMS is okay, and the number from where it is coming, which number, is it a valid number? Are you expecting some text message from this particular company because you ordered something, or your order you had something to do with that particular company? And receiving a text regarding a package before, actually we have to verify all of these things, because suddenly you may receive the SMS that doesn't actually you are expecting. You did not order the FedEx, but you actually receive a FedEx the message saying that your package is going to deliver, or you need to confirm your identity or something. So just make sure that you don't fall into the prey, and just don't click on the link. So if you think that it's nothing wrong on clicking on this link, that means it can be really dangerous for you yourself and for the other people. So hover before you click. So you can see here over there, when you are hovering to this link, you can see that the link is actually showing a different over there, right? So this is a hyperlink created, but the actual link is pointing to this one. So you can see there is a lot of difference over there. So we have to be careful. And the mobile logging, so when you actually try to open the site, you can see that this is the actual pointing site. So this way we can actually verify before going to that particular site if the message was from the Facebook, or if it was from the Amazon. So you have to verify that it's going to the same Amazon website, or it's going to the same Facebook website. But if you receive a link from the Facebook but it's going to the different site, so there is some fishy over there, right? And never trust that you have something like the number. When you see the number, that is IP address. So don't try to trust or click that particular link. Nobody is going to send you email to click that particular the IP address, right? And you can see the how to do the same thing on your tablet. We just have to double tap it. We will get this pop-up message. The certain or the obfuscate link over there, which is really useful to use. Like let's say you have a very long link, and if you want to shorten it, then we have like a bit.ly or a tiny URL which can do all of those for us. It's really useful, but it has been utilized by the hacker to fool us extremely. So when you shorten it, it's really difficult to expand it, right? So when you have certain using the bit.ly or the tiny URL, you cannot just hover to that one and get the link. But we can go to the linkexpander.com. This is a site that can actually expand all of the certain URL that we have. So you can just go and expand it, and you can see that it will point you to the actual website where it is coming from. So this is really useful. So linkexpander.com. So if you are not sure from where the link is coming, you have to go to this particular website. There may be other websites too, but the link expander is very common. So you can just go and make use of it. And hover is your friend. So whenever you go over here, you always receive this kind of email, right? So it may be from the Amazon, it may be from the Netflix, that it will always ask you to click and update your account information or update your banking information. So you may receive all of those. So when you actually hover to that particular link, you will see that it has been redirected to the different website the over here. It's not coming from the Amazon. You can see that it has been redirected to the different website over there. Email address, you can see that email address is correct. You can see that it's coming from Amazon, but at the end you can see the name. Name is, you can see that it's correct, but the email address, you can see it's from a different. So you have to be a little bit of a do some kind of the clever thinking over here, which we can call, and you have to identify that whether this is a valid or invalid. So you have to identify name, you have to identify the email address, from where it's coming. Is the customer at live is not from the Amazon, the name is from Amazon, but the email address is from the here different, and here is a different. So all of this is the red flag that we have over here. More email attacks. 90+ percent of the malware is delivered by the email. So as we know that it's really easy to have this kind of spam email coming through your mailbox and allowing or have some kind of interesting topic that make you excited. And when you're excited, you don't think so much, right? So when you're excited, when you receive some kind of exciting email that excites you, so you try to always ignore the security and just click on that particular link. So most of the malware are delivered through the email, and that's true. So email attachment. So when we have attachment of the email, we see that uh, you can see that we have a lot of attachment over here. So stop and think before you click. So before you open that particular attachment, make sure you think why you are receiving that attachment. Are you expecting that attachment? Did you request something from your supplier, your customer, that they should be sending that particular attachment for you? Do you recognize that sender? Right. So you have to think all of those stuff. Don't just, as you found something interesting. Somebody said that it's a salary slip leaked from your company. So you may get some kind of excitement over there, right? Or you may say that you may receive that your account is expired, please fill in the form or something. So you may get excited, and like you may have some kind of urgency over there. Hacker always want to feel you like you have some kind of urgency over there. He don't want you to think. If you think it, you are not going to get mistake, right? So when you are using your brain actually to think and do something, you are going to do a less mistake over there. But the hacker knows that one, and it will try to trick you to not to use your brain at all. So you want to use it on urgency. So when you're excited to do something, you don't think so much, and that's why you just click it or open it. Not just on, you can see the macro over here. Macro is really dangerous, and if you see a macro enabled and you don't trust the sender, or you are not expecting some kind of macro file, then just don't open it. So macro can be used for really bad things, and if you have that macro file and you don't trust it, and if you are not expecting any of the macro files, don't try to open it. Other email scam that we can have can be for the non-technical person like your CEO. This is called the spear phishing. So spear phishing is actually a targeted one. So previously we saw the phishing, which means that it was for generally for everybody. Everybody can receive that actually of phishing. So it's not you just put a net and you try to catch any fish that is coming, but for the spear phishing, it is really targeted. So I want to target to a particular CEO or the MD, or some kind of manager in your organization. So this kind is called a spear phishing. So it has some kind of a specific target. So what they want some prepaid card, wire transfer, accounts, email, search credentials. So all of those they can extract from them. So make sure that your CEO or your head of the organization have all of those information. They have this information and hackers knows it. So they want to extract it from them. So scammer favorites over here. So we can see that what is the current news? The health scares, protests, elections, right? Local and religion, seasonal holiday offer, order, delivery issue, tax issue. So this is the favorite of all of the scammers and the hackers, because they knows that when you get a scares, or when you get a when you are scared, or when you are angry, or when you are nervous, or when you have excited, so this is the really good time to trick you, because on of all of this stage your mind actually doesn't work correctly. When you are excited, when you are angry, when you are have some scared, so your mind doesn't work correctly, and you don't try to think so much when you are doing something. So hacker knows this, and it always try to utilize this one, giving you a huge discount, and giving you something that unexpected. So it doesn't like want to think. It doesn't. It doesn't, or the hacker doesn't want you to think properly before you do something. So make sure whenever you receive all of those kind of the spam email, make sure you think properly before you click it, right? So don't get overexcited, don't get over angry, and don't get scared. So just think before you do or you click it. And let's move on. So short demo on the Excel macro. So I want to give you a short demo on how does the Excel the macro on the Excel works, and what is the risk that we have. So just wait on, I will on my VM over here, and so I have on my VM over here. So let's say that I have one file over here which is of the Excel, and it has a macro enabled. So let me try to open that particular file. So it's an Excel file, and you can see that. Okay, let me maximize it. So you can see we have enable a macro warning over here. So now you can see that I haven't opened any of the application over here. So if I now go and on that particular enable the content, it should download some file from me over here, as well as open some of the application. So let me enable that content. So if I enable it, you can just wait and see that. If I go over here, you can see it downloaded some file, and now it is opening my Google Chrome, and it's also opening so all of the other application like the AnyDex. It also has opened a team viewer at the background, so it has also downloaded some junk file for me. So this is a really security issue for the macro that we have. So if you are not sure that for why you need to enable the macro, then just don't enable it. Sometimes it's also needed for your application to run some reports, to generate some reports. So make sure you are receiving from the untrusted source the macro. Make sure that you don't enable it, because it contains a lot of the security issue, as I have just given a demo over here. It can download a file, it can open an application, so whatnot. It can be done a lot of things using the macro file. And the next thing that I have one file which is a payment list. It is also an Excel file, and let me try to open that one, and let me show you that. So if I open this file, it will ask some kind of the, let's say it's a payment list. So this is a recent file that I particularly received, but you can see that when I try to open, you can see that it is actually going to download some file. You can see that the public, that the vbc.exe, and it's trying to open on the background. So you can see when I'm opening this Excel file, it's actually going and executing the script at the behind, right? So that is really dangerous. So you can see that now it says that I have to, this is a protected and I need to enable something over here. This is a trick over here to make you to do something over here, because this is asking you to install some file, and it is opening some file at the background and installing some backdoor in your application. So how do I check that whether this kind of files has some virus, or if you are not sure, how do I check it? So you can always go to the virus total, VIRUS TOTAL. So let me search for the virus total. So you can just go to this website, and you can just upload that particular file. So let me just drag and drop that file over there, and let us try to import that file over here. And I think it cannot be downloaded because they may have been deleted by my antivirus, so the file got deleted. So actually it was a backdoor, but it got deleted. So if you have some file, suspicious file, you want to check on whether they have some infection or the backdoor on it, you can just go through the virustotal.com, where you can upload that particular file, and it will give you the result of that particular file. And so I just uploaded the file. You can see that after I have uploaded, you can see that all of this scan that is done. So you can see all of these, most of them have detected as the Trojan or the exploit CEV, right? So these are the things that we can do actually if you want to verify that if it is actual malware or contains some kind of the virus. Okay, so let us continue with our session, and reach out of the scam to the someone. So let's take a look on this one. So phone scam, so social engineering, and what it is. So make the caller provided a verification, hang up and call the published number, and the phone number can easily be snooped, like bank, credit card companies, medical, and the insurance, right? So, and other common phone scam like the grandparents scam, technical support. So phone scams is actually they try to call you and say that they are calling from so and so company. Maybe they are calling from the bank, and they say that somebody just tried to log into your bank account, and your bank account is locked. So you need to verify before you can access that account, and they may ask some kind of your card number, your CVV number, your probably your account detail. So this kind of is a social scam, social engineering scams. They just try to call you, and they try to act like they are some kind of the professional, or they are calling from the banks, or they are calling from certain companies. They just try to trick you to provide the valuable or your information or your data to them. And phone number can also be easily snooped, right? So can be easily snooped. So I can just be any person and call to you and call, say that I'm calling from Microsoft, I'm calling from the Amazon. So I can be anybody, and You just have to make sure that you verify that particular caller and don't provide the information that they require until and unless that you are sure that they are a correct person to pass your information. So if they are calling from bank, make sure you verify that they are calling from the bank. So don't just simply go and pass your account detail or your bank detail to a person who calls on the phone and says that he's calling from the bank. And they're also like Microsoft, Apple, Dell, HP, and a lot of other tech companies that they utilize to call and trick you that they say something and you just passing over their information. And the phone example, like let's say that, hi, I'm calling from the Microsoft and we have been trying to get you in touch. And however, we will be disconnecting your license within 48 hours and your IP address has been compromised from the several countries. So we need to change your IP address and the license click. So please press 1 to get connected. So all of these are the phone scam. So it will try to like make you some kind of panic or give you some kind of excitement so that you don't have so much time of the thinking. So they always want to act you on some kind of urgency over there. So make sure that when you sound some kind of urgency over there, you just verify that is it some kind of spam or whether they are actually calling from that particular company, or did you have some service with them. If you don't have some service with them, then you just can just hang up and without listening to them, right? Just don't fall to the phone scam. This is a really big issue in some of the countries like India, which has a really big issue on the phone scam where people just call in and get your bank detail, and after a few minutes all of your bank monies are disappeared. So this is a really big deal. So make sure that you verify the person that is calling and don't just simply pass any information on the phone. General privacy and general tips for your privacy. So we can say that do not connect the unknown or unauthorized media or the device. Let's say you found some device like your CD, or you found some memory card or the thumb drive in the shopping mall or the airport. Just don't come back to and connect it to your computer or to your network device. So that may really affect because it may contain the auto-run virus, which can be installed as soon as you install the device to your phone or your computer or your any other device. Program can run when you plug in, which means that when you just insert it, it can run it without doing anything. Auto-run function is always there. For example, like the USB flash drive, SD card, micro SD, CD, DVD, external drive, send phones, right? So don't try to just come and plug in directly to your computer. That's a really bad habit. It may contain a virus. Sometimes you get some device and you get really excited and you want to check on what is inside that particular device. That may cause a problem to you and to your company or to your network. Can help protect your data, can also the encryption. So let's talk about the encryption over here. Encryption can help to protect your data, so which can also help the attacker like the ransomware, but it's not always that good, but it can sometimes. So protecting data sends over the like the HTTP over the HTTPS. So don't try to use the HTTP because it's not secure anymore. So always make sure you use a site which has the HTTPS because it has a security implemented over there. S stands for the secure circuit layer, right? So wireless, so always we don't use the free Wi-Fi that you get in the airport or you get in the coffee shop, which are always free. So people like to enjoy the free service, but sometimes for the security, it's not a good practice. So always use wireless with authentication, which is WPA2 AES encryption. Protecting device is helpful if the device is lost and stolen. So if you have a hard drive or your laptop is encrypted and if it is get lost, then it's protected because the another person who recover it are unable to decrypt that particular stolen hard drive or the lost hard drive without the encryption key. often associated with the phone or the PIN passcode. Microsoft has some BitLocker, which is really useful. You can enable the BitLocker on your hard drive. Apple has the File Vault, and you can also use third parties application for all of those encryption. And internet safety and quick tips over here: never install anything based on the pop-up when you are visiting our website. So we are visiting our website, and suppose there is some pop-up and says that you need to install some kind of extension, or you need to download some kind of file in order to view this file. So don't just go and blindly install all of those stuff that may contain a virus, right? So you don't know. So don't just when they ask you to do something, until and unless you verify it, don't install it. Trusted website can have some hosted malware, malvertising. So which means that if particular, sometimes even a trusted website like a bank website or your customer portal or your e-commerce portal, so all of those sometimes can also be already there, it has been hacked and some kind of malware is installed there, and when you are visiting it, and it may be infected your PC too. So we also have to be careful of this one. So not that this is a trusted site and you can install and download whatever they ask you to install and install in your PC. But sometimes it may be that this particular website has been already hacked or get compromised, and the malware is installed on that one, and whenever you are visiting, it is also asking you to install that kind of software to your computer. And also avoid the public Wi-Fi computer like the hotels and the whenever you are in a hotel or the airport, there are a lot of free computer or free Wi-Fi to join, and that's not a good place to log into your account, your bank account, your Facebook account. So it's not a good place to log into and check all of your details. So we are not sure what is installed on that particular computer or whoever is monitoring that the Wi-Fi network. So make sure that whenever you are on all of this stuff, make sure you don't try to use it for your account or wherever you have to do some kind of authentication. So all of those is not recommended over here. Like let's say we have the site over here, which is of PayPal, and you can see we can verify that this is our original site, which has the domain name validation over here, which is from the PayPal, and it has a green signal of the HTTPS, which means that this site is secure, and it has a valid certificate as well as the company has been validated with this particular logo over here. But sometimes all of the company doesn't have this valid the certificate, and the name is not printed over here, and they just have a HTTPS. And whenever you are visiting the site, make sure you check the name. So name is a domain name is always unique, and only one domain name is allowed in the internet. So that's why if you have something like a PAYPEL.com and it has the HTTPS, that doesn't mean that it is the actual PayPal site, right? So PayPal is a PAYPEL.com, but somebody or some hacker just modified or hosted it on site like let's say PAYPEL.com. So you must have also be aware of this kind of situation, like where they try to trick you. So it's you are actually going to the PayPal site, but it is not a actual PayPal site. It is a modified version or the hacker version of the PayPal, which they have modified the domain name as the PAYPEL instead of PAYPAL. They changed it to PAYPEL and hosted their own PayPal site. So this is another way that we can actually verify on the internet that how the site actually is the site that you're actually visiting. But people or the users don't usually try to verify what site we are in. We just click the link and just go and enter your detail. So that's some kind of the things that we have to learn to verify the domain name that we are visiting. So why we use HTTP? Why we use the HTTPS over the HTTP is because that the communication between the browser and the server is always encrypted in the HTTPS. So as I have already mention that HTTPS is it has a S, which means it use some kind of secure socket layer, and here in the HTTP it doesn't use any kind of the encryption. So whenever you type the username and password, it just goes to the server using the same without the. If you type a username as a me and password as my password, it's sent to the server with the same detail. It doesn't encrypt this data, and the server also doesn't encrypt any data and send back to you. So if some person is sitting in the middle, we saw that man in the middle attack. So here they just can recover this password easily because they don't have to do any decryption over here. The password is already over there. And also, if anybody is monitoring the network traffic, they can easily catch this password because this is not encrypted. Like even you can use any network monitoring, traffic monitoring software and catch actually this username and password. But whereas in the HTTPS, we have some kind of encryption over there, and when we send this username and the password, you can see it has been randomized over here, and it has been sent to the server, and some server can decrypt that one, and also it can send the encrypted message over here, and our browser will be able to decrypt that one. So this is a secure connection that we can actually make use. So always make sure you use a HTTPS because it has the security layer for us to protect or encrypt our data. So internet privacy over here, and the data is a new goal, and the data is valuable because without data now there is no business. So whenever you want to do some kind of analytic or you want to do some prediction, so the data is really important. So if you are going to any e-commerce site, let's say, or if you go to the any e-commerce site, and let's say you went to the Amazon and search for some stuff over there, and when you go back to the Facebook, or you go back to the Twitter, or you open some application, you see the same kind of advertisement over there, right? So what you search in the previous Amazon, you see same kind of advertisement in your Facebook, and you see the same kind of advertisement in the other application that you have installed. So this is a data. So data is shared between all of those companies, right? So the data is a new gold. Previously, people used to invest in the gold, but now companies are investing in the data over there. Data is really valuable. If you are not paying for it, you are the product. And data analytic, the predictive results, right? Example of the advertisement and the insurance rates, all of those are really important. So the privacy concern must be there because we cannot share everything with all of those companies. So we must be aware of what is our privacy concern. So we must be aware of those. So are you oversharing like default privacy setting for your social media? You went to the vacation, and you uploaded your vacation photos and your some of the photos. You don't want to share it with your whole world. You just have to share with your families and your well-wishers and your friends. Then if you are sharing it to the whole world, then that's a really big deal because the photo may contain some of the sensitive information like your location data, which you may not have disabled in your phone to capture the location whenever you are taking a photo. So all of these are the important data for any companies. So it's really valuable, and it can be sold in a higher price. So whenever you have a location data, it's really important, and it can have a lot of more value than the photo without having the actual data or the location data. So to be sure that will it be comfortable like telling people on the street that where you went? Suppose you are on the street and somebody you don't know, you just say to them that, I went to this place, the photos. Is it a good thing to do? So you don't want where you went, what you did to know by the everybody. You just want to know by your friends, your well-wisher or your family. So that's the thing that we have to take care. Are we oversetting it, right? So just make sure that whenever you are on the online or you are in the social media, what you are actually doing, what you are sharing. So this must be taken care. So don't share it over. So let's move on to the next over here. And if you are a victim of the the scam, or if you have some kind of hack, somebody scam you, So there is always, if your computer get encrypted with the ransomware, so how do we do it? So don't get panicked, and don't get too worried about it. And whenever you get the panic, or you get out of your thinking, so you get a lot of things to do wrong. So just unplug your computer. So you must unplug it from all of the network device. Then if you are in the company, you contact your IT support and write down that the details. So what you did, where you went, how did it actually happen. So all of those, and your phone number, your search credential detail, all of those have to be changed immediately. So whenever you are infected with the ransomware or any kind of the hack that has been happened to you, just make sure that you don't panic. When you get panic, we try to do some lot of the mistakes. But here we have to be careful, because when you get hacked, you have to act accordingly, and just unplug all of your network device, contact to your IT support, and write down so what went wrong and how did it get infected, so they can investigate it for the further detail. For the ransomware, if you can, some of the companies, or the most of the companies involve the law enforcement, right? So if you are big companies, they involve the law enforcement, and you can also search for the cyber crime of your country. They can inform them. And you can also, in US, you have FBI, BBB, so you can just go and check with them. More resource, like let's say when you have a doubt, and when you have some kind of questions regarding the IT security or the cyber security, you can check with your IT department, or you can check with the consultant, or you can say who is your IT provider, who is supporting you. If you are in your home, then you just may need to hire some the IT provider, or the where you service your laptop. So there may be place there where you can get help. And don't stop here. And attack is always changing, which means that today is secure, but tomorrow may not be secure. So the attack vector is always changing, and the technology is changing every day. The new technology, like a new virus, is coming every day. New software is coming every day. New application is coming every day. This is a continuous growing, and we have to learn ourselves continuously what is going on around and how to protect. So all of these things we have to learn ourselves continuously, and don't think that today I have secured everything, and tomorrow is same. Tomorrow is also secure. Today is secure, but tomorrow may not be secure. So we have to take care of that things, and we have to learn ourselves continuously. So additional resource where we can find, like you can sign up for the SANS out free monthly newsletter, staysafe.online.org, and there are other a lot of cyber securities and awareness training free online available. You can just go and check out, like some news about the online security or the cyber security. So we just have to be continuously learning about what is going on in the cybersecurity. So this will help us, and also help you, your family, your children. So make sure that this is not only for you, it's also for your family, your children. You have to share this information to all of everybody, because everybody is using any of the digital gadget. Everybody has a smartphone, everybody has a smart TV. So all of these are connected to the internet. So when you are connected to the internet, there is certain risks for it, and we must find out the risks, and we try to minimize it. So I think that's all for, and it was a long hour, 1 hour and 30 minutes at least. And I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something about the cybersecurity. And in this year of 2021, it's really important that we, or everybody, have some kind of a basic knowledge about the cybersecurity, how to protect ourselves, how to protect our data, not only you, but your family, your children, and your locality around. So we must keep them aware that what is going on and how to protect ourselves. So this is really important knowledge that we have to learn. It only not safeguards your company, but also it is workable in your home, your family, your locality, right? So this is for everywhere. So I hope you enjoyed this, and Let's meet up in the next section. If you have any question, just leave me a comment, or you can just email me on my email. And that's it. So thanks, and thanks for watching.